Hello, I'm Michael
And I'm Jill.
for Michael and Jill's Travel Adventures. Click below to subscribe to our channel.
Okay, so this video is going to be us talking about the added expenses besides just a ticket to get on the ship. A lot of people don't take that into consideration when they book a cruise. So Michael's going to start out with the first part of it.
But just as an example, slide behind us is going to show the ticket price when you look at a Carnival cruise. Just the ticket price here for an interior room is $379 per person based on double occupancy. So that doesn't seem that bad, but here's what it looks like when you start digging down into what it really costs to go on a cruise.
Well, I'm going to say a lot of people see that $379 and you're like, yes, I can do that. I can afford it. I can book a cruise 6 months in advance and afford that $400 basically. But there's a lot more to it. And my daughter recently went on a cruise and she realized that there was a lot more to it than she actually thought about.
So when you look now at the extras involved in that particular ticket purchase, you see we've got taxes, fees, port expenses. Then listed on here is your prepaid gratuities and your vacation protection. The prepaid gratuities, it's just what it says. You can prepay your tips. Some people tip, some people don't.
There's a lot of people that also do the cash tips, so they don't do the prepaid gratuities because they do cash.
Yes. So that is an extra expense. Also, if you want to get vacation protection, which saves you if you need to cancel the cruise. There are a lot of contractual obligations in there that you have to do.
There's specifics. There's doctor's notes involved. There's all kinds of things. It's not just, oh, I decided I don't want to go on a cruise. It's just not what I want to do right now. That doesn't work for it. So I will be honest, we've never gotten the vacation protection yet. And so far we have not been burned. I'm sure there'll be a day when we do get burned, but that's not an expense we usually add on.
But here we're looking at $951 plus those other two if you're going to add those on. So that is the first part of the added expenses. Then we're going to get into
the cost to get to the ship. Regardless how far away you live from the port, you're going to have to get there somehow. You're either going to have to drive or you're going to have to go by plane. We live within 6 hours of the two ports we go to, so we drive. So there's that expense we have of gas, food, and we always get a hotel room the night before because we've heard too many horror stories of people getting stuck between construction, traffic, and wrecks and stuff that close down the interstates and stuff. So we always go the night before.
I mean, just if you think about that, just one really bad wreck may set you back 2 or 3 hours, or a flat tire, a blowout, something of that sort, and then you've got several $1,000s of your hard-earned money just blown right there because your vacation protection is not going to it's not going to kick in on something like that.
And if I'm correct, the one port we use a lot is Galveston. It's an island, so there's really two ways in. But once you go to pick your direction, you're not going to be able to just turn around and get back, So that's why it was so important to put that in consideration. So of course, if you're like me, you got your snacks you have to have on your way up there, and meals you're going to eat for the cruise. If you're flying, you have the airline ticket, and then you also come into, if you're checking baggage, which I'm assuming you will have to since you'll have bags packed for the cruise, and then also the transportation to your hotel or a rental car expense. So there's those extra expenses too, and your transportation is probably a little bit more trickier than ours since you got to figure out how to get to your hotel and then how to get from the hotel to the cruise. I will say this, we said it just now about driving in, do not fly in the day of your cruise. Do not fly in the day of your cruise. Fly in the day before. yes, there's that added expense of a hotel room, but to save $70 or $100, I'd rather spend that 100 instead of losing my whole vacation. So that's just me. So of course you got also the same thing of people driving in. You're going to have the food expenses and all that, and the hotel expenses. So that's just something you want to make sure you're prepared for. Also, parking at the port.
If you're driving in, you've got to park your vehicle
Or if
somewhere.
you get a rental car. I don't know if people do that personally, but if you get a rental car, it varies what kind of parking you get. I know in Galveston, there's the port parking that we always use. It's not covered. Then there's the covered parking. There's hotels that will let you stay the night there and do their shuttle. So there's all different ways. So you have all these expenses just to get to the port. That's not including the more expenses we're going to talk about.
Once you actually get on the ship, then there are all of the free things that come with the cruise. You've got your top 5 drinks on Carnival anyway. You've got lemonade, tea, water, coffee, and hot chocolate that are always out there and free. But if you want alcohol or sodas on board, they will allow you 1 bottle of wine per person over 21 and 1 12-pack of sodas, but per person, in cans only. The alcohol, though, other than that bottle of wine, is going to be extra. There are drink packages that you can buy. Excuse me. You can buy alcohol packages, you can buy soda packages, and those vary in prices depending upon when you pay for those, and it depends on, the different packages have different limitations or non-limitations depending upon what you're buying.
You just have to remember there is Galveston. If you pour it out of that one, the alcohol package does not go in effect until the second day. So if you're going to buy alcohol that first day, it's on you. Also, one of the little things, they come around the first day with these, with rum punch in them. And they also come around at dinner time with different shot glasses. I haven't seen this one in a few years. If you have a drink package, the alcohol that's in them is free, but you have to pay extra for the cups. It's usually about $8-10. So just make sure you understood that. One time we got them and we're like, what the heck are these charges? We had the drink package and it was this. So just be aware if you buy something, and this was also one of them they had a drink in. So just be aware if you buy any of these drinks, the drink's included in your drink package, but the cup is not. And then we have pictures. Just depends on what you want. I know one lady I met, she does 1 picture a cruise. That's all they do when they cruise is 1. We've done some where we haven't bought any, and we bought a bunch.
You got 30 one cruise. It just
depends on, to be honest, the photographer, how they capture you and everything. But you can. We had a friend that went on a cruise. All they bought was 1 little picture they bought in the dining room. I think those were like $14. They range from $14 all the way up to $20-something. They have packages. They have where's our fancy pictures we got made?
The Dream Studio.
Dream Studio. That's going to be really expensive. They have all types of picture packages. Just know that that's something that you made an expense, and you can't really steal the pictures. I know people take pictures of them on some of the older ships, and then the digital ones, they snapshot them. But they do have that Carnival thing across them, so that's something you need to be aware of.
There's extra expenses, excuse me, for things like the tips for the piano bar. If you want the person to play a particular song for you, you can tip very well, and they would have to play that song for you. There's
cards for bingo, daubers that do for bingo, and there's Deal or No Deal, which also include cards you have to buy.
There's an arcade on board. That is an extra expense as well. IMAX theater on certain ships, Build-A-Bear. There's just all kinds of things that are extra that you might not know ahead of time that you might want to budget for.
And we have the specialty food. I mean, there's a lot of free places to eat. I think most of the cruises we pretty much stick to the free food, except for the sushi and the steakhouse. Those are the two we do pay for each time, and the Dr. Seuss breakfast on Carnival. But those are just, if you want something different, just be aware. If it says a dollar sign by the menu or on your app that you have a Carnival, it'll say dollar by it. That means it's an extra cost. It's not free. So, but there are plenty of options for free food on Carnival.
They also have shops on board where you can buy Carnival branded merchandise. They've got a little area where you can buy alcohol on board. Not to be consumed in the room, but it would be given to you after the cruise. Pick it up on the morning of debarkation.
And we have a video on debarkation coming up, so we'll explain more about that then.
They also have places where you can buy all kinds of jewelry and nice watches, and they even have a candy store on board.
And then they have like what I call a convenience store section of stuff that you might have forgotten, toiletries. But I am going to tell you it's going to be very expensive. That's why in our other videos we have try to pound it in your heads, bring extra medicine, bring extra of everything. My daughter's cruise, they had some really bad weather, and the store actually sold out of the Dramamine, and people were out of seasickness medicine. So always bring extra above and beyond.
That leads us to the excursions. When you're cruising, you will go to one or more ports of call. These excursions, you can get off the ship for no charge. You can look around in the shops around the ports. Those shops are not included in the price of the ticket.
Neither is the alcohol you buy there. There's a funny story I'll tell one time about this.
So there are different excursions that you can take at the different ports. Those range anywhere from $20 up to several $100s per person per excursion. So you need to budget for that as well.
If you're taking a cruise ship excursion, you're going to be responsible for your transportation to them. I know like in Cozumel, a lot of people go to Paradise Beach, Mr. Sancho's. You have to get the taxi fare and you have to get yourself back. It's not too bad, but you've also got a budget. That's an extra, I think, $40 just in taxi fare in Cozumel just to go some places. So just remember that is an added expense you'll have, or if you get on the bus there or whatever. They also have the shops in port that you can go to. So just think about what you might want to buy. We're one of those. Now we buy Christmas ornaments from every port that we go to and stuff like that for our tree.
Also, if you are a tipping person, the tips for the tour guides and the drivers for those particular excursions or taxi drivers.
So one of the other things is there's extra things that you don't have to do. I know people have gone on a ship and not spent any extra money. They've just spent, and that's fine. I just want to make we want to make people aware of what things you may need that you don't think about. They have different theme nights on cruises. They have 80s night. They have Motown night. They have block party night. So many different nights that you'll want to dress up for. So you got to think about that. And if you want to dress up on elegant night, that's an added expense for the dresses and stuff.
The different cruise shirts like we're wearing. There are people, we do specialty shirts on for every cruise. Of course, that's above and beyond. There are things like gift exchanges, cruise ducks. There's a big thing about cruise ducks. Basically, you get the ducks, you put a little banner on there, and as to who you are and what your room number is and that kind of thing. You hide the ducks, and then other people find the ducks. Shot glass exchange.
Door decorations if you want to, and there's a spa on board which has all kinds of different amenities. It has massages, it has different facials you can get. They can do your nails, fix your hair. We haven't paid for any of extra stuff like that ever, so I can't tell you a lot about it. That's one thing that really hasn't been something I've wanted to do, because the massages in port are usually a lot cheaper than the ones on board. So that's just something we don't do. So if anyone has any comments they want to put on our YouTube video or on Facebook, please do about your experiences with the spa and how much you've spent.
Also, on some of the ships on the spa, in the spa area, you do have the thermal suites. I know on the Dream Class ships and on the Mardi Gras class now, you've got really, really nice areas in there. Those do cost more unless you've got a spa room, which gives you those amenities built into the cost of the ticket.
Again, if you do the spa experiences, we would love for you to tell us how much you spend and everything, either on our YouTube or Facebook page.
And if you like what we have to say, please click below and subscribe to our channel. With that, I'm Michael.
And I'm Jill.
For Michael and Jill's Travel Adventures.
Bye.
See you next time.